seconds in the other team's zone. You call that the offensive zone. That's 7:22. The Flyers had the puck in possession of the puck for 1:53 in the Oilers zone, and the majority of that was over the last 5 or 6 minutes of that first period, as the fans here are very involved in this hockey game. It'll be interesting to see how the Flyers respond to this second period, because they played pretty well and were coming on.
And that late goal in the first period, the first time the Flyers have scored in this final series in the first period, could give them a lift. Here we go with period 2, 2-1 Edmonton. And immediately the Oilers get it in Muni, flips it into the Flyers zone. Hextall fires it out on the board. Held in at the point by Muni. Pokes it to Anderson. Shooting. That's just wide of the target. Here's Messier. Can't get around Mark. Now it hits a skate. And Philadelphia's Sinisalo fired it for Smith. Missed him. It goes down the ice, but Pure comes out and plays it. So there's no icing. Marsh's shot. Pure the save. Anderson there to get the rebound. Anderson to Kent Nielsen. Now to Messier. Messier shoots. Rebound, but Marsh was there to bat it away. And is Anderson with Marsh. Marsh cleared it. Here's Nielsen centering. Sinisalo intercept for the Flyers. Ilka Sinisalo with Smith and Craven on the attack. Leaving it for Smith. Randy Gregg knocks it away. And right back the other way comes Nielsen. Kent Nielsen leaving it for Gretzky. Got it in front, but Mellenby intercepts. Scott Mellenby, checked from behind by Tikkanen on the play. And now Gregg on the attack with Curry. Randy Gregg tried to get it to Curry, but Howe broke it up. Mark Howe trying to fire it out. Does. Mellenby couldn't get by Tikkanen. Back comes Curry to Gretzky. Gretzky shoots right on into the chest of Hextall, and he held on to it.
And having a conversation with Gretzky, we were talking about how much he played against Ron Sutter, and he said Sutter and Gretzky have not talked very much against each other. Here's Gretzky noticing everybody's covered, so he's just going to shoot the puck and try and use McCrimmon as a screen, but a good save by Hextall. Look at the position Hextall had above the goal tree. His feet were set, and he waited for that shot and held on to it. But Gretzky and Sutter have been against each other a lot. Gretzky said the toughest centerman he's played against in the National Hockey League is not Sutter, even though he gives Sutter high marks. He said it's Doug Riseborough, who now plays with Calgary and has his great years in Montreal.
By the way, Gretzky had 3 shots on goal in the first period, as did Marty McSorley. Brian Propp led the Flyers shooters with 3 shots on goal. When, as I mentioned, each team had 16 shots on goal. Here's Ron Sutter against Krushelnyski. Krushelnyski the draw, back to Huddy. They score! Charlie Huddy!
Huddy, it's his second goal of the playoffs. Krushelnyski wins the faceoff clean, and it's put back to Huddy by Polkar, and it may have been deflected by Marty McSorley, number 33. He's going to go to the net. Krushelnyski wins it. Polkar back. McSorley's going to the net now. It's a high shot, and boom, I think McSorley reached in, yes, and redirected that puck with the blade of his stick past Ron Hextall. That shot would not have beaten Hextall if it hadn't been Charlie Huddy.
It is McSorley on the deflection, his second of the game. And it is 3-1 for Edmonton. McSorley deflecting in the shot by Huddy. And now the Flyers trailing by 2 once more. Shoot it in with Huddy going back to get it. Round to Coffey. Ozark trying to kick it on the board. Ozark's pass. Out for McSorley. McSorley, who has just scored his second goal of this game, down at the center. And now Pelle Eklund back after it. Coffey in to tie him up. Propp trying to clear it. Knocked back in by Edmonton, but Propp takes over. His pass to Tocchet. Now to Pelle Eklund. Eklund trying to feed it back. McSorley then there to intercept and clear it away. McSorley from Huddy and Pozar, the scoring play at 1:32. Here comes Crossman. Lets the shot go. That's the flex and went wide. Huddy fired it on the boards to Curry. Now Crossman couldn't hold it in. Here's Gretzky. Has Tikkanen with him. The pass to Tikkanen. Hextall out to make the save. Here's Curry. Into Tikkanen. Behind to Gretzky. Trying to get it in front. Crossman knocks it away. Now it is centered by Curry, but Tikkanen couldn't get a shot off, and Craven feeds it to Propp. Muni knocked him flying. Another tough check by Craig Muni. And play gets called in the center ice area. Listen to this crowd in Edmonton.
Muni using his body. He's big and he's strong and he hits clean. Now the goal, Krushelnyski and Sutter were on the draw, and it was almost a stop as to who won the faceoff. But Pozar is going to get to the loose puck first. And he moves it back to Huddy, then they go to the net. McSorley and Pozar, and McSorley reaches out and redirects that puck. That's a well-executed faceoff for the Oilers.
McSorley has 4 goals in the playoffs, 2 of them tonight. Puck is cleared down the ice by Philadelphia, and Gretzky's back to get it. Now to Muni. To Curry, and on the left wing side, racing in is Tikkanen. Samuelson tied him up. And it's Daigneault getting it into center ice. And then knocked up over the boards right at the Edmonton players' bench. The Oilers have scored here early in the second. McSorley has the pair, and they lead 3-2. Forward line of Zezel, Smith, and Brown against the Oilers' grinding line of McTavish, McClellan, and Hunter. Here's Crossman, who's out on the Flyer defense with Marsh. They head to Zezel. Ruotsalainen knocked it back into center ice. Marsh for the Flyers to Dave Brown. Trying to center, it comes to Zezel. Couldn't get a shot off, and back comes Kevin McClellan. And the play went offside at the Philadelphia Flyer blue line. 2 of the best checks in this series have been handed out in this game by Craig Muni.
And Propp's looking at the puck, and he looks up, and boom, there's Craig Muni, bigger and stronger, and he uses the power. That's not only his arms. He reached up and pushed with his thighs and his upper body and overpowered Brian Propp. He signed as a free agent with the Edmonton Oilers. Muni, other teams that were interested in him were Minnesota and Buffalo. Chose Edmonton because he wanted a chance to play with Wayne Gretzky.
Here's Glenn Anderson for the Oilers, who lead 3-1. Anderson leaving it there. Nielsen shoots off Hextall's shoulder and then off the glass. Now Anderson out in front, turns, shoots a weak one that went wide. Crossman gets it for the Flyers. To Marsh. Feeding it into Eklund. Eklund trying to get it in front. Does. Here's Propp. Shoots one. Pure got a stick on it. Now Pocket. He's checked on the play by Ruotsalainen. And Ruotsalainen able to take Pocket out, and that allows the Oilers to break out. Here's Messier with Nielsen and Anderson. Messier shot. Deflected off Marsh. Bounced in front. Philadelphia cleared it, but cleared it with a high stick. And that stops play. With the score, Edmonton 3. Philadelphia 1. With John Davidson, Dave Hodge, and Jim Taddy, Dan Kelly at the Northlands Coliseum. 15-19 left in the second period. Glenn Sather looking on from the Oiler bench. His club with a 3-1 lead. Face-off in the Flyers zone, and McCrimmon works it to Poulin. Huddy holding it into McSorley. And Marty McSorley, who's popped in a pair of goals here tonight. Gets it in front. Pozar well tied up by McCrimmon. They continue to battle. Look at that tug-of-war in the corner, J.D.
Well, what's very interesting about it is the fact that it's the fourth line that's on the ice doing the work for the Oilers once again. McSorley has 2 goals. Krushelnyski's been able to play at even strength, and on the power play, Pozar's played smart. Now, if you look at Marty McSorley, you realize he has 4 goals in the playoffs, and that's sort of unexpected. But what's more unexpected is he has only 6 minutes in penalties in the playoffs. So he has done his job and played well. He was suspended earlier in the American Hockey League the last month of the season for starting a fight. I believe it was an 8-game suspension, and he was sent over by his coach to start the fight. So with the Oilers, He's kept his wits about him and played the game like it should be, and you see the result.
Now the Oilers sending out the Gretzky, Curry, Tikkanen line. Ready on a face-off. Won by Gretzky from Craven. Samuelson cleared it. Here's Curry getting it in front. Marsh intercepts and quickly cleared it. Coffey on the defense for Edmonton with Huddy, giving it to Huddy. Now to Curry. Yeri Curry. Leading all Stanley Cup goal scorers with 14. Fires it in. Comes to Sinisalo. Couldn't get it by Gretzky. Samuelson. Held in by Coffey. Centers to Gretzky. Back in front. Gretzky just missed Curry. Here's Tikkanen. Now to Huddy. That shot off a stick and up into the crowd.
You know, Dan, there's quite a race going on for the Conn Smythe Trophy. And you see Gretzky, you know he wants to win this game, but you see him going extra hard. You see Messier going, you see Messier going. Those are the top three, I would think, in line for the Conn Smythe. Yesterday, Wayne Gretzky relaxed by going to the Edmonton Eskimos football training camp and chatting it up with a few of the boys. Grant Fuhr, of course. What else? Played golf.
He's a Conn Smythe Trophy candidate, too.
He is, in my mind. In my mind, he should be leading. A lot of people just look at the final series and think about the Conn Smythe Trophy. It's not supposed to be like that. It's the entire playoffs, and Grant Fuhr has played badly, very, very little in the playoffs. He's been by far, in my mind, their most consistent player.
Grushelniski getting ready to face off, but McSorley and Lindsey Carson doing a little pushing and shoving. Carson, by the way, just came into Edmonton alone yesterday, not with the team. He had to get some work done at a dentist on Monday morning in Philadelphia after, I think, getting 3 teeth knocked out, JD.
It was involved. It was a stick from Charlie Huddy.
Here is Carson trying to hold it in. His shot blocked, and McSorley comes up with it. Marty McSorley to Pozar. And he flips it down to the Flyer zone. Carson back to get it. McSorley into forecheck, but Carson trying to break away. McSorley has it again. Shot that Hextall got a stick on. Now Hunter winding it around into the other corner. Sutter is there. And now McCrimmon breaking it out, and here come the Oilers with Howe leading a rush. Has Mellanby with him. Howe. Still with the puck. Broken up, cleared, and here's McClellan behind the defense, breaking in on right wing. Goes in. Hextall came away out to cut down the angle and make the save. And McCrimmon cleared it. Comes up to Mellanby on right wing. To Zezel. Zezel trying to work in. Dropping it back to Propp. He missed it. Crossman's shot is wide. Here's Zezel. Shoots, put it right through the goal tree. And McClellan has it for Edmonton. Now to McTavish. McTavish leaving it there. Ruotsalainen. Shot right on. Hextall a pad save, and Crossman lines it out on right wing, and it just tipped to center by the Flyers. Randy Gregg losing it to Propp. Propp in the clear. Wide by about 6 inches. Oh, Propp with a great chance.
Randy Gregg tried to get rid of the puck at his own blue line, and Propp intercepted it up high on his body, and that was a great chance for the Flyers with their best sniper, and he missed the net.
Here comes Eklund with a backhander. Muir handles that. Anderson trying to clear it out. Couldn't. Flyers get it back to Propp. Propp again with a shot that's wide. Now Kent Nielsen dropped it back, but Propp has it for Philadelphia. Intercepted by Coffey. Banked off the boards, and here comes Huddy. To Anderson. Leaving it for Nielsen. Faked and then got upended on the play by Tocchet, and here comes Propp. 4-man Flyer rush. Propp centered to Crossman. He scores! Doug Crossman.
Ken Nelson did not want to shoot the puck inside the Flyers' blue line, and Tocchet went to him and hit him and knocked him down, and right away the Flyers got possession of the puck, and now it's a 4-on-2, and they stay onside, and Crossman and Marsh are the 2 men to make it 4. Crossman got the puck on his forehand, and that's a big goal. Propp moves it across to the far man, and you see it's on the forehand, and there's a quick shot by Doug Crossman, who was a very offensive junior player, and he beat Grant Fuhr. Ken Nilsson could have had a shot on goal. He elected not to, and there was a turnover because of that.
Crossman, a native of Peterborough, narrowing the Edmonton lead to 1 goal again. Philadelphia can't get it out, held in. It comes to Gretzky. Gretzky back to Muni, now to Tikkanen. Tried to one-time it, but McCrimmon blocked it. Scoring play was Crossman from Propp and Eklund. 8:08 to time. Now the Oilers trying to break in, but Tikkanen is tied up in the play. Here's Craven. Fell, but dropped it to Howe. Mark Howe to Sinisalo. Ilka Sinisalo flips it in. Roll back to get it. Knocked it for Craig Muni. Now out on to left wing, picked up by Gretzky. Gretzky moving in, but Curry broke in ahead of the play and was offside. Doug Crossman's 4th goal of the playoffs has cut the Edmonton lead here in the second period to 3-2. Forward pace continues.
It certainly does. And the Flyers, you think they're out of the game, and they're trailing 3-1, and there's pressure in their zone, and bang, they come back and do something. Tocchet's the man that went at Kent Nilsson and stopped Nilsson from shooting the puck. The Flyers, it just seems to be built into their system, the types of players they have to continue to fight back.
Character players, they're known as. Here's a drive that's blocked by J.J. Daigneault, and now Sutter trying to break out. Knocked back in by Krushelnyski. And Crossman, who got that last goal, back to get it. Out on to right wing. Mellanby squeezed out by Gregg. Knocked down. And Ruotsalainen is back to pick it up. Quickly to Kevin McClellan. To Craig McTavish. McTavish shoots. Hextall came out, made the save. Crossman cleared it. Gregg held it in. His shot blocked, and now Philadelphia with Lindsey Carson. Feeding it over to Mellanby, and that's offside at the Oiler blue line. With the score, Edmonton 3. Face-off coming up at the Edmonton blue line. Eklund out there with Tocchet and Propp. This is the line that got that last goal. They're out against Messier, Nielsen, and Anderson. Here's Anderson, backhanding it in. In comes Messier. Fired around onto the boards, and Propp trying to clear it. Good play by Nielsen to hold it into Messier. Bounced over his stick, and McCrimmon starts back. McCrimmon to Propp. Ryan Propp tied up by Ruotsalainen. And going back is Nielsen to get it. Delayed offside has been called, and now as the Flyer forecheckers go in deep and stop play, the delayed offside is whistled down.
Now Eklund's at center now with Propp and Tocchet, and this is their first shift, or the finish of their first shift since they scored that last Flyer goal. Now they were against Messier when they scored the goal, Messier's line, and they were again for that shift. And what we saw was Tocchet against Anderson, and what a battle they had away from the puck. They were just going at each other. The sticks were flailing. They were, in fact, both players had the sticks up very high, and something may develop between those two. Marty McSorley, one of the heroes of this game, had 2 goals in 41 games in the regular season. He's had 2 tonight, and he's had 4 in 19 playoff games. Some guys just have the proper timing, huh? Well, he's a guy that's worked at his skills and taken advantage of being able to practice with some of the best players in the league every day, and I think his skills and the level has risen up, and it's showing. Here's Jerry Curry breaking out for Edmonton. Dropping it to Esa, Tikkanen around Samuelson. Tikkanen couldn't get a shot off. Now trying to center, did, but big Samuelson with that long reach is there to break it up. Now to Poulin. Poulin, another of the Flyers playing, but playing injured. Now it's Zezelin to get it. Centered it. Pure down to knock it away. And it comes into center ice. Gretzky tried to steal it. Now Brown. Over to Zezel. Zezel to Samuelson. Shot deflected off Gregg and up into the crowd. With the score, Edmonton 3, Philadelphia. Stanley Cup 87 is back at Edmonton's Northland Coliseum. The Oilers now with a 1-goal lead. You looked at the head coaches there. Another new head coach in the National Hockey League today, Bob Murdoch. An assistant with Calgary, now head coach. The Blackhawks in Chicago. And last week, Terry Crisp named the head coach in Calgary. 2 new coaches in the last several days. Here's McClellan trying to shoot it in as he came from around the net, but Hextall was there to make the save.
8 minutes, 36 seconds remaining here in the second period in Edmonton. Face-off is going to be deep in the Flyers zone. Edmonton on a pair of goals by McSorley, one by Curry. Tocchet and Crossman have scored for Philadelphia. Here's Murray Craven playing with an injured foot, as John Davidson pointed out earlier.
He's now taking all the face-offs to the right side of Hextall in the defensive zone. Of course, it's the defensive zone, but he's taking more in this game than he has in previous games.
Here's Hunter for Edmonton. Hextall comes out to play it. And got it on left wing to Smith, who tipped it down the ice. Coffey has to hustle back to beat Sinisalo to it. Now Hunter to McTavish. Here's McTavish with Nielsen. Shoots, shot it just wide. Flyers clear it and clear it into center ice. Charlie Huddy back to get it. Huddy scooping it in. Crossman back for Philadelphia to Sinisalo. Now to Craven. He's met head-on by Anderson, but here's Sinisalo. Sinisalo knocked flying by Messier. Penalty coming up to Mark Messier. A tripping call. And a Flyer power play coming up with the score. Edmonton trade. Messier, who's really cut down in his penalty minutes in the playoffs, nailed here for tripping.
He's flat-footed, and Sinisalo is the second best, maybe third best pure skater that the Flyers have. Eklund and Howe may be better, but there, Sinisalo had his speed, and he drew the penalty.
Flyers with the man advantage. Here's Propp playing the point, loses it to Gretzky, and Gretzky shoots it down the ice. Philadelphia in this game 0 for 1 on the power play. Here's Eklund. Flips it in, trying to race in after it, but Craig Muni gets there first. Cleared it, now Tocchet kicks it to Eklund. Eklund back to Propp. Propp shot right on, cure the save, rebound. Here's the shot, Eklund shoots, he scores! This game is tied, 3-3. Power play goal by Kelly Eklund.
Dan, it was Eklund that dumped the puck into the zone, and then when Muni shot it around, I believe it was Tocchet that was there waiting for it. When Tocchet got the puck along the boards, look at Eklund, look at his speed. This is what I was talking about, a pure skater. He dumps it in, now he's going to try and go get it. Muni's got to shoot it hard, and he doesn't. There's Tocchet, and he's going to be the man to get the loose puck. Now the Oilers are trapped along the boards, and watch Eklund come out after the loose puck. There's going to be all the Oilers on one side of the ice, and Eklund's going to pick up the loose puck and bang, and a power play goal. Well, the Oilers sometimes block shots. When you block shots, you have to be right. Kevin Lowe's going to go down. He does block it once, but he takes himself out of the play. Eklund followed it up, and a power play goal.
Kelly Eklund, 7th of the playoffs. Propp and Tocchet, the assist, 12:40 the time, and now Ron Sutter and Krushelnyski almost get into it at center ice, and Sutter is going to get a penalty on the play. Kelly Eklund getting the goal, 12:40 the time.
Goal and 2 assists for Eklund in this hockey game. Gives him 25 points in the playoffs. Now, Propp's the man on the point, and of course he's going to shoot it. Fuhr let that rebound get away from him, and then Eklund takes his time and put it down past Van Fuhr. Eklund having himself a fine playoff. That's point number 25 for him.
A roughing penalty against Sutter, and now Edmonton on a power play. Now they've given both teams a penalty. So coincidental minors. Krushelnyski also got one. So it's Sutter and Krushelnyski both off. Roughing, coincidental, neither team shorthanded. And here's Glenn Anderson. Anderson can't get it moved away. Mellenby in digging in the corner. Now in comes Carson. Greg trying to tie him up. And Kent Nielsen cleared it, and it comes into center ice.
That's 3 points for Eklund. That gives him 25 in the playoffs. That's also 3 assists for Brian Propp, and that gives him 26 points in the playoffs, the most on the Flyers.
That's where most of the Flyers' offense is coming from, and with big Tim Kerr out of there, they need it.
And that they do. And the Flyers have changed their forechecking a little bit here in this period. They're making sure they're not getting trapped deep in the Oilers' zone, and therefore they're not giving up near as many glaring scoring opportunities for the other team. This team has about 6 coaches. They've got people like E.J. McGuire, Paul Holmgren, Bernie Perron, Bill Barber, Red Tate, Mike Keenan, and they're a club that can adapt to situations. And I think they made a good adjustment here in the second period by not getting pressed and therefore leaving men wide open to go in on Hextall all alone.
Faceoff won by Edmonton, and Huddy takes over, giving it to Gretzky, now to Messier. Back to Gretzky. Craven back-checking there to clear it. And Derek Smith worked it into center ice. Curry back for the Oilers. Now to Messier. Drop to Huddy. Long pass to Curry. Curry scooping it in for Messier. Hextall almost into the corner to get that one. And then he cleared it over the glass. They're going to rule him one off someone, though, and there'll be no penalty. They're ruling that as he shot it, it hit someone and bounced over the glass, or he'd get a penalty.
And he's there saying it deflected off, and the face-off's inside, and that's all there is to that. July 9th in Barrie, Ontario, the NHL officials have their golf tournament, and it's to support the Make-A-Wish program. Last year was their first year with the tournament. They raised $10,000, and it's great to see the officials involved. So good luck with your tournament this year, fellas. And there's the coaching staff we were talking about. On the right side, Bill Barber, then Bernie Perron, then Red Tate, and then on the far left is E.J. McGuire.
And behind the bench, of course, Holmgren joining Keenan. They have quite a staff. Here's Crossman trying to clear it. Held in by Edmonton. Curry, a quick shot. Wide, bounced in front, and then is grabbed by Hextall. Speaking of coaching staffs, the co-coach here in Edmonton, along with the president of the GM, Glenn Saylor, is John Muckler.
I asked Muckler this morning, are you going to be back next year? He said, yeah, I think so. I said, what do you mean you think so? I said, what's your percentage of being back? He said 90. 90% chance I'll be back unless somebody phones me with a big offer with lots of money, then I just might have to leave. They also used Teddy Green, Bob McCammon, Ron Lowe, who was with the minor league team in the American Hockey League, is with the club. There's Ted Green looking on from the press box. The man standing up to the right, you can hardly see, Bruce McGregor. I think the pressure is getting to Bruce, not sitting down and relaxed. There's Paul Holmgren behind the Flyers bench.
5:50 left here in the second period. Twice Edmonton has had 2-goal leads, but now it's tied at 3. Here's McCrimmon in the corner. Sliding it over onto the wing for Rick Tocchet, pinching in his coffee. Tocchet has to hustle back. Tocchet now moving it to McCrimmon. Quickly to Propp. Brian Propp. Slides it in for Zezel. Now it's Tocchet back of the net. Tied up. Got it in front. Huddy just cleared it away from Propp in the nick of time. Laid pass to Curry. He tipped it in, but Howe is back for Philadelphia. Mark Howe able to clear it. Now Craig Muni knocking it down. Gives it to Esa Tikkanen. And Tikkanen fires it in. Hextall sets it up for Howe. Mark Howe, perfect pass to Propp. Propp getting free. To Tocchet, he couldn't get anywhere. And now the Oilers, as the checking gets a little tighter, flip it in. McCrimmon gets it back into center ice, and Kevin Lowe gives it to Craig Muni.
And that's what the Flyers want. Now see what I mean by just sending one man in? Only Mellenby's deep. The rest are staying back a little bit now. Earlier in the hockey game, they were playing recklessly. And now the Oilers are having trouble getting out.
Here they try with Kevin Lowe, and he just flipped it to center. A.J. Daigneault knocking it over to McCrimmon. A shot back into center ice, but Muni is there to give it to Lowe. Now McTavish on the fly. But McCrimmon there to knock it back in. And it winds up at the blue line, poked in by Philadelphia, and Craig Muni takes over.
All playoffs long, when this type of play has happened, the Oilers have shown patience. Now the Flyers are starting to check very well. Will the Oilers show patience, take their time, or will they start to take chances? We'll have to watch and see.
Still 3:48 left in the second period. Here's Mellenby to Poulin with Smith. Pass to Smith, diving across, and breaking it up was Kevin Lowe. Number 4, Kevin Lowe with a defensive gem to break up goaltenders. Two of the very best. Grant Pure to the left. The rookie Ron Hextall, just 23 years of age, to the right. Drops this period. Edmonton is 8. Philadelphia 6 in the game. The Oilers 24, the Flyers 22. Face-off deep in the Edmonton zone, won by the Oilers. And here's Ruotsalainen to Messier. Messier couldn't get around Samuelson, and Mars fires it out of there. Randy Gregg going back to get it. Gregg to Nielsen. Now to Messier. Messier shot. Hextall the save. Messier couldn't get it centered, and here's Craven playing it off the boards with a nice pass to Smith. Now to March. Brad March into Sinisalo. Label it for Sinisalo. Shoots a weak one that was wide. Propp now poking it into Craven. Here's Ruotsalainen. And then it's cleared out of there to Glenn Anderson. Got into center ice, and Eklund takes over. Eklund for Philadelphia. Giving it to Propp. Now to March. Fired in. Messier knocks it down and scoops it down the ice. It's on target, so there'll be no icing. And Hextall winds it around to Samuelson. 2:35 left here in the period. Here's Gretzky stealing one. Gretzky in front to Tikkanen. Bounced off his skate. Now Gretzky. Again trying to center. Tikkanen behind the net. Tied up by Samuelson. And now Pocket. Cleared it to center ice. Paul Coffey knocking it down. Here's Huddy. Trying to feed it up. Gary Curry giving it to Huddy. 3-3 the score late in the second. Shot in by Huddy, and he put it up too high and over the glass.
Well, Tocchet now being involved with Curry and Gretzky. The Gretzky line has been held off to score sheet. Curry does have the goal, but that was on the power play. So the Gretzky line and the Messier line have not been involved in the scoring at even strength in this hockey game. And the Flyers know if they're going to do well, that's what they have to do. At the very top, the last row, Walter Gretzky looking on. And you feel tension in this building. The Flyers do much better in a period where there's been a lot less shots and a lot less wide open play.
I'm going to say, this is a more a Philadelphia type game right now.
They've made adjustments, Dan. They're not getting trapped. And when you don't get trapped, you don't allow the other team to skate so freely through the blue lines and therefore have speed going into your zone. So they're clogging it up a little bit. Now they're doing maybe what Detroit did do and did very well. So maybe Philadelphia made the one adjustment, and it seems to be working.
1:49 left in the second. Here comes Coffey. Rips a long one just wide of the net. And back is Howe. Firing it over to Mellanby. Mellanby just let it go, and it goes all the way down the ice. Coffey back to get it for the Oilers. Paul Coffey. Long pass to Gretzky. Gretzky with Tikkanen and Curry trailing. Here's Gretzky. Moving in. Shooting. That's blocked at the defense. And right back comes Sutter. Beating Mellanby. And now back to the play. Curry getting into it with Derek Smith, and they'll both get penalties here.
So what happened, Dan, was Gretzky had the puck, and he came over the blue line, and he waited, but there was nobody to pass to. Derek Smith has been on Curry a lot in the playoffs, and he stayed with him. Tikkanen was on the other side, and he was covered up. So finally, Gretzky had to shoot the puck himself. Now we'll see everybody tied up. Look at the man. That's Curry being tied up by Smith. The shot was taken by Gretzky. And Gretzky hit his own man with a shot. Now, Smith stays with Curry, and they got their sticks up. That was a good defensive checking job by Derek Smith.
Flashing penalties, 18:39 the time to Smith and Curry.
They'll both go to their respective locker room as there's only 1:21 left here in the second period. Smith is a good defensive winger. He played against Thomas Sandstrom the first round of the playoffs and did a great job as they beat the Rangers. And he's a player that Mike Keenan says will score 20 goals and also be a fine defensive player.
Here's McCrimmon back in his own zone to Mark Howe. Now to Poulin as the Flyers come to center ahead to Sinisalo. Ilka Sinisalo to Craven. He was open, but didn't know the puck was on a stick, and it just bounced away. Bouncing away. Puck comes to the Flyer line. We're in the final minute of the second period. 3-3 is Howe. trying to freeze it against the boards. Puck does come loose. Ozar now getting it free. And here's Krushelnyski flipping it in. Dave Poulin back to get it. Fires it up to Sinisalo. Sinisalo with Craven. But 3 Oilers are back, and Craven is taken out by one of them, Randy Gregg. Ruotsalainen to Messier on the break. Messier trying to go around Crossman, but cleared away. Now Nielsen to Messier. Centered it out in front. Gregg had moved in, but puck bounced over his stick and comes to center. 15 seconds left in the period. Ruotsalainen to Nielsen, now to Anderson. Shoots away up high off Marsh's stick. 9 seconds left here in the second period.
Ruotsalainen, there's Glenn Resch. He's had a tough couple of weeks involved with that pre-game brawl in Montreal. He finally had some hate letters sent to him. It's the first time in his career, and that spans over 13 years in the National Hockey League. And he's backing up tonight. There's Andy Moog backing up for the Edmonton Oilers. Darryl Ray is their third goaltender, and young Jensen is the third goaltender. Darren Jensen, the third goaltender for the Philadelphia Flyers.
Chico Resch, by the way, now 39 years of age, says this could be a swan song.
You know what's interesting about Chico Resch with his age being 39? He's the man that helps Ron Hextall a lot throughout the year. Chico Resch is older than Bobby Clark, the general manager, older than Mike Keenan, the coach, and older than their president, Jay Snyder. That's how long Chico's been around the wars of hockey.
9 seconds left in the second period. 3-3 the score. Puck to center ice. Ruotsalainen chasing back. Over to Randy Gregg. Gregg getting it to Anderson, and there's the buzzer to end the second period. And now a skirmish as Ruotsalainen almost gets into it with Crossman, but they're quickly separated. After 2, the Flyers 3, the Oilers 3. From Edmonton, you're watching Stanley Cup 87. That nifty effort beat Bob Sobey to the final series, and Edmonton's Glenn Anderson. That memorable dash was in Game 2 against Philadelphia. Overtime in Montreal, and the next goal, a one-handed goal by Matt Naslund against Boston's Bill Ranford. Finally to Toronto, where the Leafs' Russ Courtnall gives us a textbook example of a one-man show. He beats 3 players, gets his own rebound, and scores with both feet behind the goal line against Greg Miller. Our next category naturally follows. It's great post-goal reactions following great goals. Naslund's one-handed effort and the team's celebration against Boston. For old time's sake, we add Tiger Williams, who still shuffles the Tiger Ray. Chris Nyland of Montreal shows he's really happy in a game against Boston. But our winner, Detroit's Sean Burr, who resembles former Olympic long jump champion Bob Beeman. This dance, run and leap, puts him in great shape to compete in the 1988 Summer Olympic Games in Seoul, South Korea. Next in line, great playoff saves. Kelly Rudy of the Islanders, who had a great playoff, gives us an example. A diving stick save against Washington in their division semifinal. To the Norris division, and Glenn Hanlon, and a lethal right hand against Wendell Clark. The Los Angeles Kings' Rollie Melanson is up next. Here, Rollie, the goalie, reaches as far as he can and takes away a certain goal from Edmonton's Mike Krushelnyski. And finally, back to the Toronto-St. Louis series. Ken Reggett's memorable left-handed snare of a Gino Cavallini blast. Under the category of volcanic eruptions, coaches blowing their tops. Many coaches do lose their cool, but none can do it like Quebec's Michel Bergeron. Here he gives his rather elaborate views of a call in Game 5 of the Habs Quebec set. In our Best Actor category, a Kelly's hero, the Ranger goalie Bob Troes, who on his way to the bench on a delayed penalty is hit by former Flyer teammate Lindsey Carson. Troes then gives that award-winning reaction. Under the heading of Best Hits, we begin with Washington's Lou Franceschetti unloading on the Islanders' Dennis Potvin. In Montreal, Cam Neely of Boston squashed Chris Nyland to the boards with a joke. And finally, a hit to remember, the Caps' Scott Stevens catches Patrick Flatley of the Islanders with his head down. Under the heading of Best Dressed Coaches, An award, naturally, to the Leafs' John Brophy for putting the fedora back in the coach's fashion scene in Game 1 with St. Louis. The coaches weren't the only ones dressing up. Example, Game 2 of the Leafs Blues series, the fans sitting behind Brophy decided to mimic the Leafs coach. In Quebec, a pair of fans during the Habs Nordique series went to elaborate lengths to show their displeasure with the officiating. And to Toronto, for a guy with a real Leaf sweater tattooed on his chest. And finally, an award to your humble servant. That's icing against Detroit. Messier from Capier, the scoring play. Messier. Yeah, I know, Dave Hodge. His name is Messier. And it's trying to wrap it up tonight, urged on by their fans. The Flyers trying to send it back to Philadelphia for Game 6. It's knotted at 3-3, and here we go with the third period. Mark Messier against Murray Craven, and we're underway, and Kevin Lowe gets immediate possession. Over to Craig Muni, off the boards to Messier. Held in by Philadelphia, and Muni has to go back again. Now to Lowe, in there is Sinisalo. In comes Craven, but now Kevin Lowe breaks loose to Messier. 3-on-3 break. Messier to Anderson. Back to Messier, but tipped away by Shell Samuelson. Trying to clear it. Here's Kent Nielsen. Into Anderson. Shoots. That just went wide. Nielsen after it again. Kent Nielsen. In front. Messier's shot. Blocked as it went off escape. Messier to Anderson. Anderson got it in front. Hextall poked it away. And Sinisalo dropped it to Marsh, who cleared it out of there.
Yeah, Samuelson and Marsh in front of the net. They both have about size 14 feet. And Anderson had a wide open net, and he hit one of those feet. Otherwise, the Oilers would have had to leave on a great pass from Ken Nielsen.
Here's Marsh. Flipping one up high. Going back is Randy Gregg. Gregg to Gretzky. Kicking it back, and it's picked up now by Krushelnyski. Krushelnyski checks. Holding it in. Ruotsalainen shoots. That's deflected and was wide by a couple of feet. Lindsey Carson steaming down the left side. Sent by Krushelnyski. Now Mellanby. Krushelnyski ahead to Gretzky. Goes in, shoots. Wide of the target as Hextall came out to cut down the angle. Here's Sutter. Over onto the left side to Carson. Centered. Fuhr made the save and then dove up to cover up on it with the rookie Mellanby right on the doorstep.
And they're keeping this pace going. Grant Fuhr, who's playing at about 174 pounds right now, is sharp here as this period starts. We'll see this develop as the Flyers. Carson looks up and his teammates are gone to the net, but there's nobody in there that's wide open. Fuhr went down anticipating a deflection. Coffey has a hold of Mellanby's stick, and that's why Mellanby couldn't get to the loose puck. But Fuhr, he says anytime he plays under 185 pounds, he plays well. He's down under 180 right now.
Here's the line that's done the Flyers scoring. Eklund out there with Pocket and Propp. Here's Brian Propp trying to move in. He's checked in the play by Coffey. Eklund held it in. And hustling back is Huddy. Over onto the boards to McClellan. Now centered out in front to Eklund. Couldn't get the shot off. And Hunter comes back for Edmonton. Dave Hunter leaves it for McTavish, back to Hunter. And Pocket is there to break it up. And Rick Pocket just cleared to center. Shot back in by Edmonton, but Daigneault controls. Fires it into center ice. Here's Propp. To Pocket. Ridden out by McClelland on the play. Kevin McClellan scoops it into center ice. Eklund for Philadelphia loses it, but Sinisalo picks it up. Ilka Sinisalo dumping it in. Fuhr leaves it for Lowe. Now to Pozar. Broken up, and now Sinisalo giving it to Smith. Shot went off low and deflected wide. Marty McSorley cleared to center. McCrimmon knocks that down. Flyers with Smith on the attack. Shoots one. Fuhr got his blocker up to get a piece of that. And McSorley works it to Pozar. With Krushelnyski to center. Pass to Krushelnyski. Flipped it in front, but Howe had taken Pozar out. Pozar trying to center. Flyers knock it down. Back comes Smith. Pure leaving it for Ruotsalainen. That's Craven into forecheck, but Randy Gregg is there, lost it, and Pure had to come out and clear it away. Pozar. Back to Ruotsalainen. Now to Gregg. To Messier at center. Mark Messier stick handling in. Marsh with a play to break it up. Messier tried to hold it in, couldn't. And Anderson has to go back. He's checked by Poulin. Dave Poulin taken out of the play. And Ruotsalainen is back for Edmonton. Ruotsalainen to Messier. On the fly to Anderson. Shoots high off the glass. Digging in, Messier couldn't center it. Now Anderson battling with Marsh. Marsh scoops it to Zessel. Coffey pinched in to hold it in. Messier to Anderson. Big save, Hextall on Glenn Anderson from the slot. And Samuelson now tries to work it down the right wing boards and does to center. Here's Nielsen for the Oilers. Leaving it. Tikkanen shooting. And Hextall got a piece of that. Back comes Dave Brown. Over to Sutter. Tikkanen intercept. In with Gretzky. Gretzky shoots wide on the short side. The Oilers with pressure on now. Here's Tikkanen. Into Gretzky, but tipped away, and Brown comes back for the Flyers. Pass to Carson. Lindsey Carson. Dropping it to Sutter. Intercepted by Curry. Curry and Gretzky with Coffey trailing. Drop to Gretzky, blocked by Mellanby. Here's Scott Mellanby. Now down left wing to Carson. Into Mellanby. He's taken out of the play by Tikkanen, but Mellanby didn't lose his feet. There's a shot by Howe. Juggled by Pure. And then he is able to go to his knees and smother it. I don't think Pure ever saw the shot, but he felt it. And then was able to smother it. 14-30 Cup 87 back in Edmonton. Face off in the Oilers zone. Here's Philadelphia center. They score! Pocket! Wide open in the slot, set up by Propp. And Philadelphia has a 4-3 lead.
McTavish was on the draw, and he had no trouble winning the draw. But the Oilers miscued. Once the puck is back into the corner, it's going to be Muni that goes after it. And watch what he does with the puck. He's being harassed by Propp. And boom, there's Pocket. And the Oilers were thinking they had possession. Brian Propp's the man that went into Muni and created the turnover, moved it to Pocket, and boy, oh boy, they lost the faceoff, but they ended up winning it and scoring.
Propp's fourth assist of this game, Pocket's second goal. Philadelphia leading 4-3. At one time they trailed 3-1. Now the Oilers playing catch-up, and Hunter flips it into center ice. Knocked away by Crossman. Now Pelle Eklund firing it in, and he fired it up over the glass and into the crowd. With the score, Philadelphia, Ontario, Rick Tocchet. His second of the night, his 11th of the playoffs from Propp. 5:26 the time. Brian Propp has assisted on all 4 goals. Now the Flyers, Sinisalo getting it in. Ruotsalainen back for Edmonton. To Nielsen, he missed it. Here's Marsh's shot. That's wide of the net. Samuelson from the point. Shot right on. Pure a save, another save on the rebound on Sinisalo. And Pure had to come up big there. And Ruotsalainen. And one of the Flyers right there, Derek Smith almost getting into it. A close call for the Flyers. They already lead it 4-3.
Smith for Philadelphia, Ruotsalainen for the Edmonton Oilers, 2 minutes each for roughing. The Flyers are buzzing. They're getting better as this game's moving along, and they're going to the net looking for rebounds. And Grant Pure has had the puck roll all around his goal crease. That time it was Sinisalo, and Pure had to make another save.
Coincidental Miners, team's not short-handed. Here comes Coffey. Into Krushelnyski, back to Coffey, but off his skate into the corner. And Mark Howe fires it out. Now Krushelnyski moves in, shot wide. McSorley firing it around on the board. And in to get it is Messier. Howe took it away from him. And it's cleared out onto the boards, and Mellanby got it to the line, but not out. Back to Messier behind the net. Sutter beats Coffey to the puck. Now McSorley in there forechecking. He couldn't get anywhere, and here comes Howe for the Flyers to Mellenby. But back to break it up is Charlie Huddy. He gives it to Pozar, dropping it to Coffey.
With the Oilers trailing, you will now see their defensemen get more into the play. That last shift, Coffey was right around Hextall's net twice. Now, Brian Propp, as you mentioned, has 4 points in this game. That gives him 27 in the playoffs, and that breaks the team franchise record for the Flyers that was held by Reggie Leach, and he set that in '76 with 24 points. So Brent Stater and his hockey club have not been able to control the line that's been had Crockett on it and Propp on it and Eklund on it.
They've scored all of their goals tonight. Here's Dave Poulin bouncing it off the boards. Fuhr sets it up for Lowe. Now to Curry. Curry to Gretzky. Into center ice to Kevin Lowe. Lowe weaving into the Flyers zone. Into Tikkanen. He's taken out. Now Gretzky centered, but it's knocked away by Big Dave Brown. All the way down the ice. Lowe racing back, but Poulin will win the race. That eliminates the icing. Back is Curry. Got it around on the board. Daniel knocks it back in. And Craig Muni takes over for Edmonton. 4-3 the Flyers lead. Muni trying to shoot it in. Crossman for Philadelphia. That's center to Eklund. He just tipped it in, and Coffey goes back to pick it up. Got it to center. Daniel knocked it away. Now it comes back into the Oilers zone. Muni shooting it right back out. Here's Rick Tocchet, who scored that go-ahead goal. Trying to get it to Propp. Muni cleared it away. Now Tocchet. Rick Tocchet getting it out in front. Knocked away by Tikkanen. And Esa Tikkanen starts back for Edmonton. Tikkanen with Gretzky. But Eklund was back-checking and broke it up, and the Flyers shoot it to center. Huddy dropping it back, and now it comes to Glenn Anderson. Anderson into Gretzky, but Howe intercepts. That's it by Huddy. Here's Sinisalo, but Coffey is back for the Oilers. And here comes Edmonton with Nielsen feeding Anderson. Anderson got it to the corner. Gretzky and McCrimmon fight for it. McCrimmon coming up with it. Brad McCrimmon cleared to Sinisalo. Cross ice to Poulin. Huddy is back to break it up. And here comes Lowe for the Oilers. Feeding it in. Back checking was Craven, and it's cleared away by Sinisalo. Under 11 minutes left in regulation time. 4-3 Philadelphia. Here's Messier. Moving in, shot, stick save, Hextall. Poulin there to clear it. Greg held it in. Glenn Anderson. Checked by Marsh, and Anderson has to circle back.
You're seeing a clinic as far as checking goes to this point by Philadelphia. 3 or 4 men always across their own blue line. And the Oilers are trying to do it by carrying it in. They're not dumping it at all.
Here's the pass to McSorley. Down with Krushelnyski and Greg McSorley. Shoots one. Hextall. A glove save, and he held on. With the score, Philadelphia 4, Edmonton 3. 10-13 remaining in the third period. Ron Sutter getting ready for a face-off against Mike Krushelnyski deep in the Flyer end of the ring. It's the Krushelnyski, Pozar, and McSorley line out there for the Oilers right now.
As we wear down in these playoffs and this pace of this game very fast, both teams in this third period are using all their players.
Here from the face-off is Carson. It is Sutter, Mellenby, and Carson, the Flyer forward line. Lindsey Carson to Doug Crossman. Out to Mellenby. He missed it, but it's picked up by Sutter. He's upended. And no penalty call there as the Flyer play was tripped. Here's McSorley coming back. McSorley trying to work around Daniel. McSorley centers. Comes to Huddy. Shoots. That deflects wide. Winds up on the mesh of the Flyer goal. And the faceoff will be moved outside the Philadelphia blue line.
Krushelnyski centering that fourth line, as I mentioned, and they're both getting, all 4 lines for Edmonton now appear to be getting equal ice time. As far as Philadelphia goes, Daniels had 2 shifts on defense for their hockey club. Other than that, they had been rotating 5. So all the forwards and defensemen for Edmonton getting ice time here in the third. And the same thing with Philadelphia. Browns only had a couple of shifts. And Daniels only had a couple, but both coaches, knowing where they are in the playoffs, have had to use all their players.
Really have to hand it to these Flyers, John. They were down 2-0, down 3-1. A lot of teams would have folded up the tent. They kept digging and working.
It's a big, big story, and they're very, very good at protecting a lead.
Here they come, led by Propp. Propp shot deflected into the corner. Propp and McCavish race in. McClellan comes in. A Propp upended, and it's cleared back to the net by Huddy for Coffey. Shot at the center. McClellan races after it, but out of the net, Hextall. He cleared it into center ice. Here's Kelly Eklund, who's been outstanding for Philadelphia. Drops it to McCrimmon. Shot back into the Oilers zone. Muir sets it up there for Randy Gregg. Gregg to Krushelnyski. Tip to center, but Craven intercepts. Craven on a Flyer 3-on-2. Back to Sinisalo, shot wide. Puck winds up on the mesh of the Oiler goal, and the faceoff will be moved outside the Edmonton line. 8:50 remaining in regulation. 8 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in regulation time. Philadelphia leading Edmonton 4-3.
This morning, Mike Keenan had the Stanley Cup brought into the Flyers locker room after practice, and the players were allowed to touch it, to feel it, look at it, get the feel of the situation. And Mike Keenan, that's a smart move for him and his hockey club, and you can see they're playing hungry here.
They're facing elimination. Here's McCrimmon, a shot from the point. Blocked at the defense. And Gregg, who blocked the shot, is hurt and limps to the bench. Back comes Krushelnyski to Gretzky. Gretzky's shot blocked in front of the net as Gretzky was well tied up. Lead pass to Poulin. He races after it, but as soon as he touched it, he's offside. A 2-line offside, and the faceoff will come back into the Philadelphia zone.
That was a pass from Hextall set up for Poulin and nearly worked for a breakaway. Randy Gregg is on the bench and being attended to by the Oilers trainers. He blocks the shot from McCrimmon, the top of the circle, and you see Gregg take the shot, bang, on the inside of his right knee, and he dropped as if he was shot. And you can tell he's in pain, and they're tending to him still on that Oiler bench. Glenn Saters points to Randy Gregg and said, "That's our Ken Morrow." Ken Morrow, an outstanding defenseman for the New York Islanders. And Gregg gives them that steady play, and they need him now.
Sutter against Gretzky. Oilers win it. Back to Muni. Shot right on. Hextall stood up, made the save, and then Philadelphia cleared out of there. Greg Muni back to get it. Ellenby standing in front of the net as a forechecker. Muni comes out and gives it to Lowe. Lowe scooping it into center ice. Gretzky, well tied up. Sutter was right on top of him. Now again, the Oilers can't break away. Again, Sutter at center ice with some dogged, determined checking. Here's Carson, takes the hit. Curry clears to Gretzky. Less than 8 minutes to play. 4-3, Philadelphia. Gretzky to Curry. He gets turned around and hooked by Mellenby. Now Gretzky out in front, and Tikkanen couldn't handle the pass. Tikkanen hustles to keep it in, however. Hextall shooting it. Huddy pinching in. And as he flipped it over the glass. And we're now down to 7:29 left in the third period.
On that last play, Charlie Huddy kept the puck in, and we have to remember that it's a left-handed shot. And so he had to stop the puck with his body and then try and get the puck and keep it in the zone. And it's very difficult to do when you're playing right defense. Now, the Philadelphia Flyers have 6 defensemen dressed. Only one is a right-handed shot, and that's Shel Samuelson. And they're a team that's used to it.
Here's Samuelson to Sinisalo, now to Craven. Trying to feed it into Smith. Out of the goal comes Fuhrer, and he cleared it over the glass and into the crowd. I think it hit the glass as it bounced, and they'll let him get away with that. John, wasn't Philadelphia down 3-1 in Game 6 of the Montreal series and came back to win?
And they came back to win, and it was a very similar hockey game as this one is to that. Philadelphia trailed 2-1 after that first period, the same as this first period. They then trailed 3-1 and came back to score 2 goals to tie 3-3 after 2 periods, which is the same as this one. And then they scored the only goal in the third period, and so far they scored the only goal this period. It's almost haunting to think about it.
Here's Philadelphia on a face-off. Marsh shooting, 1 rebound. Smith had a poke at it, another poke. And back was Huddy to block it. Samuelson shot right on. Saved by Pure. Puck still loose. Raven couldn't get a stick on it. And Anderson starts back. Into center ice. Here is Glenn Anderson breaking in. Diving play by Samuelson. And then Hextall stopped Messier. Here's Huddy clearing it in. Sinisalo into the corner. Messier into try and force the play, but Philadelphia cleared out. And Charlie Huddy goes back to get it.
That's the reach of Samuelson. Anderson had him beat, but he's got that reach going at 6'6", and he got back.
Here comes Rick Tocchet ripping a shot. Muir got a piece of it, bounced right in front, but fortunately Randy Gregg was there to clear it away. So Gregg is back in action after blocking that shot on the ankle earlier. With the score, Philadelphia 4, Edmonton 3. There on your screen, you see the story. 6:21 remaining. Flyers leading 4-3. Trying to stave off elimination. Face-off. Krushelnyski winning the draw to Ruotsalainen. Up to Craig McTavish. McTavish comes to center, sliding it in. Doug Crossman goes back to get it. Crossman flips it off the board. Now Tocchet trying to clear it. Krushelnyski held it in. Gregg is checked, and here's a break. Racing after it is Tocchet. Fanned on his shot. Bjork came out, made the same rebound. Bjork had to stop Propp. And now Krushelnyski is there to poke it away. Crossman at center knocked it down. Back comes McSorley. Into Krushelnyski. Stick handling in. Shot it wide as he was checked just as he went to shoot. 5:35 left as the Flyers flip it down to the Oiler line. Kevin Lowe has it there. Over to Muni, back to Lowe. Now Yaroslav Pozar. Pozar met at the blue line by Carson and taken out. And back comes Dino into Mellenby. Centered it, deflected right on. Pure stops Sutter with a great save. Oilers come back. Gretzky to Curry. Trying to go around. Howe does, and on goal. Hextall, big save to stop Curry. And that might have been a game saver.
2 game savers. One by Grant Fuhr on Sutter with a beautiful pass from Mellenby, and then one by Hextall. Sutter's hurt. He's been skating around, bent over behind the Philadelphia goal, and he was taken down earlier. Now here's Curry with a brilliant play. The puck's rolling, but Hextall just waits, and he waits, and he waits, and Curry puts it right into him. A big save. But prior to that, Mellenby puts it in front, and look at Sutter reach out. Boom, a redirection of the puck, and a big save. And on that play, Ron Sutter was bent over, and he is going to now take the face-off for the Flyers, but he's hurting.
5 minutes left in regulation time. Sutter against Gretzky, deep in the Flyers zone. Sutter wins it. Gretzky steals it though, centered, but Crimmin knocked it away, and here's Dave Poulin. Banking it off the boards, and going back to get it is Huddy. Out to Tikkanen. Now to Curry. Curry to Gretzky, but that's offside at the Flyer blue line. 4-3, Philadelphia leading. 4 tonight, playing their 24th playoff game. That's an all-time high. They're injury riddled. They're supposed to be tired. They've outshot Edmonton here in the third period, 11-7.
And a lot of that has been counterattacks, starting with fine defensive play. Now Gretzky's on the ice with Curry, but they put Dave Hunter to the left wing in place of Tikkanen.
Puck comes to the Edmonton end of the rink. Here's Curry dropping it back to Charlie Huddy. Now to Gretzky, but Marsh was right on top of him. Charlie Huddy tries it again. Over to Dave Hunter. Hunter, number 12. Into Curry. Curry still controlling it. Spots Gretzky. Gretzky back to the net. Out in front, a shot. Roots the line and shot it wide. As Gretzky set him up. Now Hunter. To Gretzky. To Curry. Big save, Hextall. And he smothers the rebound. Hextall robbing Yeri Curry.
A big save. Hextall stayed on his feet, took away the angle, and made the save. That whole shift, Sinisalo was on the ice, and he skated around with Paul Coffey. Now Hunter works the boards well. He teams with Gretzky, and look at Hextall move out, stay on his feet, take away the angle, and that's the area where Curry scored earlier in the hockey game. High on the glove side. That time Hextall, watch Hextall lead to his left and take away the shot from Yari Curry. Now Sinisalo, no matter where Coffey went during that last shift, Sinisalo skated with him. That was a forward on a defenseman for the whole shift.
Ron Sutter against Messier. 3:56 left. Flyers lead 4-3. Sutter wins another big faceoff. McCrimmon cleared it, and it's knocked down the ice by Propp, with Randy Gregg going back after it. He gives it to Ruotsalainen. The Oilers at one time led 2-0. At one time they led 3-1. But right now they trail 4-3. Here's Anderson. Trying to flip it through. Propp was there to break it up. Anderson again. Anderson. Back to Gregg. Shot blocked and then cleared out by Philadelphia. Pocket shot it out. Ruotsalainen to Anderson. Missed him. Hextall comes out to play it and fires it up high. Held in by Nielsen. That's broken up, and right back comes McCrimmon. McCrimmon flipped it in. Ruotsalainen feeds it out. And here's Nielsen giving it to Messier. Messier dropping it to Ruotsalainen. Flipped it in front. Here's Messier. Round into the corner. Ruotsalainen couldn't get it. And Rick Tocchet clears it to center. Carson one-on-one with only low back. Carson waits for help. Centers. There's a shot. And out came the goaltender, Fjorder Rob Crossman. The trailer on the play. 2.5 left in the third period. And here's Marsh flipping it and flipping it up over the boards. In behind the Flyer bench with 2:27 now remaining in regulation play.
And the Flyers playing a brilliant third period here. Had Crossman trailing on the play. He's already scored a goal in this hockey game by trailing. And Grant Fuhr kept the Oilers in this one. And I also like what Mike Keenan's done when Paul Coffey's on the ice, is he has Sinisalo staying right with him. That's what they used to do to Bobby Orr. Only it didn't work very often when Bobby Orr was on the ice.
Again, it is Gretzky flanked by Curry and Hunter. That's the second shift that they've had Hunter out in Tikkanen's spot.
I think what's going on here is Sinisalo's on the ice opposite Hunter, and Sather's keeping Coffey away from Sinisalo.
Here's Howe giving it to Murray Craven. 2:16 left. Craven banking it off the boards, and the Flyers' Smith shoots it in. Low back, gets it to Gretzky. Gretzky check. Here's Craven. He's taken out hard behind the net by Muni. Muni loses his helmet. Craven gets the puck. Centered, but Gretzky is there. Now to Hunter. Hunter racing after it, but a poke check by McCrimmon. Less than 2 minutes to play. 1:50 left in the third. Dumped in by Philadelphia, and then they make a wholesale change. Here comes Coffey. Joe Anderson. Glenn Anderson checked by Propp from behind. And it's Tocchet firing it out to center. Hodge gives it to Coffey. Shot it in. Crossman for the Flyers flips it right back out. And Rick Tocchet just dumps it in. 1:25 remaining in the third period. Here's Kent Nielsen to Anderson. Tipped into center to Hodge, now to Gretzky. Has Nielsen and Anderson with him. Now Gretzky circling. There goes Fuhr to the bench. 6 attackers. Oilers work it to Messier. Shoots wide from a bad angle. And then Tocchet tried to clear it. Hodge held it in. Knocked down and cleared by Philadelphia. We're in the final minute. 6 attackers for Edmonton. Messier back. 4-3 Philadelphia leading. Coffey tipped it to center. Ellenby shoots at the empty net, but Huddy was there to block it. Now to Messier. Ahead to Nielsen, into Messier. Messier moving in. Now it comes to Gretzky. Howe dove across to block it. And 38 seconds remain. There'll be a face-off in the Flyers zone.
And the Flyers have allowed just one bad angle shot in the last few minutes here. Ever since that big save by Hextall on Curry. And there's Grant Fuhr. He'll stay on the bench. The face-off will be to the left of Ron Hextall. There's going to be a timeout called by the Edmonton Oilers now, as they're going to try and rest their players. Gretzky's been on the ice for the last minute and a half. That will give him time to get his breath. And it is winding down. These Philadelphia Flyers with a magical comeback, and then showing some outstanding defensive play as this third period moves along.
At the 8-minute mark of the second period, Edmonton had a 3-1 lead. Flyers got goals from Crossman and Eklund before the second ended, and Pocket has scored here in the third, his second of the game. And Brian Propp has assisted on all 4 goals as Mr. Sather plans some strategy.
The Oilers had the first period going their way, and they could have been up by 4 goals, but this man, Hextall, stopped 2 clear-cut breakaways during that first period. Now, with a face-off to the left of Hextall, the Oilers have set up different plays on the face-off. Now, one is for Messier to win the draw back, and they don't have a defenseman there. They've got Wayne Gretzky back on the blue line. And they want that because he can handle and set up a play from the point. Of course, the Flyers want to get the puck back to the corner, and they're going to want Howe to fire the puck around.
Sutter will take the face-off with Messier. 4-3, Flyers lead, 38 seconds remaining in regulation time.
Randy Gregg's on the ice. They want him in front of the net. Paul Coffey's on the bench.
Here's Sutter, here's Messier. Messier gets it. They get it to Gretzky. To Curry, but Propp intercepted. Here's Anderson, blasted it wide. Nielsen trying to center. And again, Howe slid across to save the day. And then he throws the puck, and we're down to 28 seconds remaining.
And that was a close play. Brian Propp nearly had the puck out of the zone, but he couldn't do it. Finally, they got the puck back to Gretzky as Messier and Sutter have quite a battle. Now watch it go back. Meanwhile, Curry's backing up to get ready for a one-motion shot. Propp gets out. Somehow the puck is kept inside. And look at the jam up as Anderson missed the net.
28 seconds left. Again, Sutter and Messier. 6 attackers for the Oilers.
Curry will back up for that shot again if Gretzky gets the puck at the point.
And the puck just lies there and comes and is cleared by Craven down the ice. Curry hustling back. That's going to be icing as Curry touched it. Now the Flyers put it in the net. Propp is arguing that Curry didn't touch the puck.
He didn't.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did. Kevin Collins, the linesman, raced back, and he raced back at full speed, and Curry thought he was going to get it. Just watch this. Does Curry miss the puck or not? You bet. His stick went right over top of that puck, and Kevin Collins, by instinct, lifted his arm up, and it's a face-off now deep in that Flyers zone once again. Propp is the man that got to that puck and scored in the open net.
The play had been whistled down, though. 18 seconds remain. Again, a face-off deep in the Flyers zone.
Well, Mike Keenan is not calling his timeout here at all because he doesn't want Curry and those players to get rested.
Here's Sutter and Messier. This time Sutter gets it, but Anderson stole it from Howe. Centered Hextall. Intercepted. 13 seconds left.
5 seconds, tick off the clock, just 13 remaining. And this is the third face-off here in this sequence to the left of Ron Hextall.
We've had 3, this is going to be the 4th.
Fourth. And it's been Sutter and Messier on all of them. and neither centerman has won a draw clean. Each time, it's been Ron Finn, the official, and Messier and Sutter.
Here they are again. 13 seconds left. Sutter got the draw, but the puck was dropped unfairly.
And a second clicked off the clock, and the Oilers are pointing up there right now. Will Koharski put 1 second back or not? He's now talking to Ron Finn, asking why. Now, Koharski will go to the timekeeper's box, and he will put a second back on the clock. It will go to 13, as it's now at 12. And Don Koharski right on top of it. Now remember, Dan, if Messier gets the puck back to Gretzky, Curry, who's up on the line, will release, and he'll back up, and Gretzky will try to feed Curry for a one-motion shot. If is a big word.
I think what they're going to do is just delay the start of the clock by a second.
And Gretzky pointed up, told the people on his bench to watch that clock and make sure they delay the start.
All right, you watch it. I'll watch the face-off.
All right.
Sutter and Messier. It comes back to Gretzky. Into the side of the net. Anderson trying to center. Broken up. Here's Gretzky. Check. Now Crossman has it. 3 seconds left. Howe cleared it. This series is going back to Philadelphia. The Flyers, with a gritty effort, come from behind a 2-goal deficit. They defeat the Edmonton Oilers 4-3. Edmonton's lead in the series cut to 3 games to 2. When we return, the Carling O'Keefe Game Star.
The Carling O'Keefe Game Stars, the number 3 star from the Edmonton Oilers, Marty McSorley. The number 2 star from the victorious Flyers, Pelle Eklund. And the number 1 star of tonight's game from the Flyers, Brian Propp. And if you want to know why, here's why. It is the game-winning goal off a face-off. Watch this play develop now. And you'll see Propp get a hold of the puck. And he feeds Rick Tocchet as this play develops right in front of your eyes. He feeds the other to the puck. That's Craig Muni. The pass comes across the crease. Rick Tocchet the right spot at the right time. That's the winning goal. Final score, 4-3 for the Flyers. You're watching Stanley Cup 87.
The puck, and Gary Curry was going down to chase it, and I chased right after him. And I lifted his stick, and he missed it. But the referee said that he touched it with the top of his stick, but I'm just glad that they didn't come back and score on us.
Now, the other victory in this series you got by coming from behind this Edmonton team, and I suppose the Flyers are going to become known as a comeback team. Tell us how it's possible for a club to look these odds in the face and come back and play like this.
Well, we had a little trouble during the year to come back from 1- and 2-goal leads, but all through the playoffs against Montreal and Edmonton so far, we've been coming from behind with 1 and 2 goals, and I think we've got our confidence where we're not getting down once another team gets that lead, but we're going to have to come out and get the lead this next couple of games if possible, because it just gets too tough coming back every game in and game out from 1- and 2-goal leads, especially against these teams, and we're going to have to come out and try and get the first goal the next game.
This has been a terrific playoff for you. You've had other playoff seasons, so the Flyers, where success has not been there, and I suppose there's been some criticism your way about the way you played in the playoffs. You feel vindicated now?
Well, I think that I've played the same way in every playoff. Some playoffs the puck doesn't bounce your way, and it doesn't mean that you don't play well. You know, I've played well every year, and sometimes I haven't got the bounces. This year we've kept on going, and you know, I've been very confident all year long, and it's, you know, the puck has been going my way, and been playing with a great bunch of players. It makes a big difference.
Well, we look forward to seeing what happens the rest of the way. It was a great effort tonight by the Flyers, led by Brian Propp. 4 assists. Carling O'Keefe Breweries gives $500 to the Minor Hockey Association of our Game Stars choice. Brian Propp has chosen the Atlantic City Minor Hockey Association after our trip there. There's something that sounds wrong about giving money to Atlantic City, but it goes to a good cause. Once again, our final score, Philadelphia 4 and Edmonton 3.